Hello, welcome back. As the stock market is going down again today, it's pretty much the story of our lives these days. Alibaba is actually doing much better all of a sudden, unexpectedly, you would say. And we can actually fetch the market data here and see what's going on. It's up 3%, while everybody is pretty much down a lot today. And the thing about Alibaba, I have talked about it in the past in multiple videos. Of course, you can't expect this to reverse instantly. There will be a lot of things happening, there will be a lot of discussions, there will be days where it will be down and days where it will be up. That's totally unavoidable, and I don't personally care too much about this because I know that sentiment works this way. It will take some time for the current news, the current things that are going on in China to equalize, to kind of normalize, and then you will slowly start looking at Alibaba going down, or even more abruptly, it could actually go higher at some point. Now, one of the news pieces that is very interesting, and I think it causes this kind of increase in Alibaba today, and I wanted to share, is this here, that China security watchdog expects audit deal soon with US regulators. And actually this was brought to my attention by one of our very careful investors and subscribers in our channel, so thanks a lot for this. You keep giving me some very nice content here, some very nice news pieces that are very helpful for our viewers, and I have to thank you because I haven't looked at this news before that. So what's going on here in China? This is what happened. There are regular talks with US regulators, of course, about cooperating and having some audit cooperation and have a deal which will allow the US to get the information it needs for Chinese securities so that they can actually audit them properly. And if that doesn't happen at some point, there is some risk about delisting some of these US listed Chinese firms, really. And so this is why it's a bit of an important thing. It's actually very important for Chinese stocks. And not reaching an agreement will keep this kind of sort of downtrend for Alibaba, where you may be seeing some days that it's actually up unexpectedly, but then it's more or less going down, and then at some point where it reaches its bottom, it's gonna be trading sideways. This is what typically happens with downturns and downtrends, and so this is very important for China and Chinese companies, and I'm pretty sure China really wants to get an agreement, but giving as little as possible, of course, and the US will be wanting to get as more as possible. And so there's going to be some discussions for sure, but this is very interesting here. What Fang Zhanghai, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. I'm probably not. One of our Asian friends can actually help me with this one. Leave a comment below. And he's the vice chairman of the China Securities Regulatory Commission. It's basically the SEC of China. And he represents what's actually happening and the willingness to solve the dispute with Washington right now. And this is what he said here, and this is extremely important coming from his mouth, because he's not just anybody, he's not just like a CEO or anything of that sort. He's a very important person. He's the vice chairman of the Chinese SEC. And he says that I'm very confident that we will reach an agreement in the near future so that PCAOB could conduct checks on Chinese accounting firms in China in a reasonable way. And so this is very interesting news here, and very good news to see as an Alibaba investor or as a person who is willing to invest in Alibaba. Because if that happens, if there is an agreement between the US and China, a massive deal of risk gets elevated, and I'm pretty sure we're going to have a steep increase in Alibaba's price. And I do, frankly speaking, you didn't hear this from me, but I do expect that there will be a day where Alibaba will have a massive uptrend again, especially when this kind of news goes through. I really do. Of course, I cannot see the future, but I do expect that. Based on what the current price action is and based on what I'm seeing here in terms of news. I think that will happen at some point, but we'll see. I'm definitely not an oracle. Now, as you see here, this uncertainty will be removed soon, and this will be good news for Chinese stocks listed overseas. So you see that Mr. Fang here, Fang Zhanghai, again, probably pronouncing it incorrectly, he's talking about Chinese stocks when he's discussing this equation here, and that makes a great deal of sense because he cares about Chinese stocks. He's the vice chairman of Chinese SEC. So it's very important for him that the Chinese stock market does well, and this hasn't happened lately. So they do want to fix this kind of issues, and I'm pretty sure they will be prepared to give some things up and have some talks with the US in order to elevate the current risks and current issues. And this is when it potentially makes a great deal of sense to own at least a little bit of Alibaba if some of you are not. Of course, it's your own it's your own decision. But I do think that having a little bit of Alibaba, I do have a lot, as I've mentioned in the past, or other potentially interesting Chinese companies, like one, for instance, is Tencent, is the one that I examined lately, getting better and better in terms of valuation. So there are some very, very interesting plays right now which are very undervalued. And if you know me and if you have been watching this channel for a long time now, you know that I'm all about buying stuff when they are low in value. Because when you're buying stuff when they are low in value and they are valuable things, then you're prone to be getting to get rewarded. It will happen eventually. It may happen in a year, may happen in 2 years, but it will happen. If you're holding something valuable, eventually something will be willing to pay more for it, hence the stock market. So you will see here that investors have continued dumping Chinese stocks because there have also been some elevated risks. Some more US listed companies identified here by the SEC, that's the US SEC. It's Chinese firms for the most part, Sohu, this is Zihu, and some other companies, other 15, facing potential delistings here. This adds more to the 11 that they actually identified back in March. If you remember, we did make a video about it. And you do see some of the negative aspects as well. A hedge fund manager talks about the fact that he doesn't think there will be an agreement soon. Of course, he doesn't really know. It's just speculation here. I'm much more keen on listening what the vice chairman of the Chinese SEC says. So, but still, it's interesting to see the kind of sentiment that's going on here, because this is a hedge fund manager here, and you kind of see how they actually get affected by sentiment a lot as well. They're talking about geopolitical tensions, really, and they don't even pay attention to what the Chinese SEC vice chairman says. So, of course, there is also the growing concerns about the strict lockdowns in China, who knows for what reason. But yeah, this is another concern as well. This doesn't concern me too much. I think eventually they will come to their senses, or they will have to come to their senses. I don't think this will continue for a long time. It's a bit ridiculous, frankly. And the Chinese stock market is going down pretty much. Hong Kong is going down. The Chinese index here, the Dragon China index, going down 5%, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much doing pretty badly in terms of their stock market, kind of causing it a little bit on themselves, China. But it looks like they want to get to get to the end of this, and so I'm fully expecting that we're gonna be having some news soon. And I think this kind of news is also already pretty encouraging here. So that's very, very good to see. Now, China does have some concerns on national security, pretty much. I'm not sure how concerning that is, and whether that's really the case. I think they're mostly saying that to avoid giving enough information, or maybe avoid giving extra information, really. So there's a little bit of a play, a little bit of a game going on. It's something to be expected, very understandable. It doesn't really concern me too much. But this is what's going on right now in terms of Alibaba, and this is why you're looking, and other Chinese stocks, and this is why you're looking at Alibaba being higher today. Of course, it has been battered tremendously, and at some point it would gain also a little bit as well. But the fact that we are potentially close to an agreement also helps with that picture. Alright, thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed this one, and thank you for being around. We're approaching 1,000 subs. This is absolutely exciting. I love to see that. Thanks a lot for your support, guys. And Monday, I'm letting you know how to get access to these tools. So remember to stick around, become a subscriber to get the information first, and maybe hit the notification bell. That will help you get it as soon as possible. And remember to leave a like as well. That really, really helps. And again, thank you for watching this one, and I'll see you very, very soon in the next video. Bye bye.